And so anytime I'm met with something where I'm afraid, I usually, of course, I have the fear just like anyone
Yeah,
else,
yeah.
right? The emotion, it usually takes me aback. And then I have to tell myself, but look at all of the other things you did
Wow.
afraid.
In today's episode of the Black Woman Leading Podcast, we are talking about manufacturing fearlessness with Caressa Bell. If you have ever walked into a room and wondered if you truly belong there, even after earning every credential and putting in the work, if you are navigating a major career transition and trying to figure out how to lead boldly when the path forward isn't that clear, and if you are ready to stop letting fear make your decisions and start building the inner fortitude to own your leadership and to own every room you walk into, then you need to keep listening. Let's get into it. This podcast amplifies the needs and experiences of Black women leaders in the workplace with a holistic focus on 3 core areas: leadership development, mental wellness, and relationship management. Our ultimate aim is to help Black women learn, heal, and grow in their leadership capacity. Black woman leading. Before we jump into this episode, I wanted to let you know that registration is now open for the August 2026 cohorts of both our early career and mid-career leadership development programs. No matter where you are on your career journey, our programs are designed to support your holistic development, wellness, and career growth. Now, our mid-career program is designed for mid and senior level leaders, and it focuses on building strategic leadership skills and developing a customized career strategy in this phase of your career. Our early career program is a training program that's designed to strengthen the foundational leadership competencies needed to grow and to step into leadership. Now, of course, both programs will center your mental wellness and self-care and also provide a culturally relevant lens for you to do your personal and professional development work. The amazing thing about the transformative experience you have while in Black Woman Leading programs is that it's not over after you finish your program. We are invested in a long-term relationship with you. So upon completing our core programs, you become a part of our alumni community, and we host ongoing events throughout the year. With us, you are not just completing another professional development program. You are joining a community of support that's there with you for the long run. If you want to explore how to register for one of our programs, visit our website at www.blackwomanleading.com to get all the details. There you can review our programs, sign up for an info session, or schedule a one-on-one call with a member of our team. We'd love to welcome you to the Black Woman Leading community, and we love to support you in this season of your career. All right, so welcome everyone. Today we are talking about manufacturing fearlessness with Caressa Bell. Hey, Caressa, welcome.
Hey, Laura, thank you.
So happy to have you. This title is provocative, which is why I wanted to talk about this. But before we get into this, let me give you all the official about Caressa. Caressa Bell is an executive strategist, leadership, and transformation coach, Gulf War veteran, and a former Fortune 50 executive with more than 30 years of leadership experience spanning military service, corporate transformation, and entrepreneurship. But 30 years where though? Because you fine, ma'am. Okay, focus. Throughout her career, she has led billion-dollar portfolios, enterprise-wide transformation initiatives, and teams of more than 200 professionals. Today, through her work speaking and her new book, Manufactured Fearlessness, Own Your Leadership, Own the Room, she helps leaders build the courage, clarity, and confidence to lead yourself, to lead others, and to leave a legacy. And so why I wanted to talk about this today, when we connected and heard about this book, Manufactured Fearlessness. I mean, just the title is kind of provocative. I'm like, what's she talking about over here? But wanted to dive into this because just that fear piece, and Black Women Leading in our community, we talk a lot about challenging fear, especially as people are creating new vision and new goals for themselves in times, that are saying that maybe you need to just play it safe, fall back. So I really wanted to dig into this because I think it could really support our listeners. So let's dive into this. Before we start talking about the book, I always have to ask our guests, what does the phrase Black woman leading mean to you? And I read a little bit about your bio, but tell us a little bit about your journey up until this point too, in that point.
Well, first and foremost, thank you so much, Laura, for this amazing platform. You have really done a great job of showcasing, Black women leading and creating space for us to have important conversations like this. So thank you for your leadership as a Black woman. And so when I think about that phrase, what it means to be a Black woman leading, it is resilience, it's responsibility, it's impact.
Yeah.
It's also diversity because we lead in so many different ways. We lead our families, we lead our communities,
Yeah.
we lead our sisterhood circles.
Yeah.
So before we even talk about a title or a position in a corporate space, a lot of us have been leading in our communities before we were
Right.
ever compensated to lead a team. And so Black woman leading to me is just part of our responsibility. I just feel like it's part of who we are. And so my journey as a Black woman leading started in the home. I was the oldest sibling. And so guess what? When mama went to work, I had to lead.
You was the surrogate mama.
Exactly. And I didn't realize that responsibility. It felt more like, things that I probably didn't want to do at the time or lean into, but that was my first leadership role. And so going from high school to my military service, it really shaped me for being the leader that I were throughout my career because it allowed me to create the integrity and the sense of community, which helped shape my later years in leadership. And so I kind of evolved out of obligation to family to obligation to service and country, and then that shaped me and how I showed up in corporate America.
Wait, but tell me a little bit about the transition from your military service to, corporate America, what that was like for you.
Well, it was a very humbling experience. I will tell you, many of us are told that the world is waiting for you, and there's so many people waiting for you they can't wait to have a veteran on their team. And the reality in the workforce was different. It wasn't bad, but it was just a different experience. And then learning the language was also very different.
Different language,
right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And it was, but there were a lot of great military veterans who would pull me to the side and say, "Hey, this is how it gets done on this side of the house." And I'll give you one example. In military service, it was all about loyalty.
Okay.
Loyalty to the country, loyalty to the uniform, loyalty to the Constitution.
Yeah.
In corporate America, the loyalty is to yourself. Right? You have to be loyal to your strategic objectives, not the greater good. And there's a part of you where you're supposed to be loyal to organization, but you really it's flipped.
That's not what's happening when you get in there, right? Because that's the ethos, right, of loyalty to the company, to the team.
Yes.
But that's often not what people are experiencing.
That is often not what people are experiencing.
So that was a paradigm shift.
It was
for
a
you.
paradigm shift because, right, you go from being trained to always be honest and upright and and operate with integrity.
Because it's life and limb on the line
right?
there, yeah.
But you take that same attitude to corporate America and you will give away your strategy before you understand what I'm saying? And so you have to learn that transition, that shift in how you show up. That was sometimes heartbreaking.
Yeah.
Because you grow up thinking one thing and then you go into a whole different mindset.
Yeah, and I think I haven't been in the military, but I come from a military family. My father, my uncles, my brother, who is retiring now after 30 years of service. So he's going to be doing this transition thing too, right? But I think too, as I look at them, it was a part of their identity, really, in this code that they lived by. My father, my uncles, a lot of my uncles, my brother, they were career
Yes.
kind of folks, and it was a identity thing. So I can imagine you shifting and being in the space has been your identity, and really a code, a honor code of how you live your life, and to see you're doing those things and it's not being honored in that way. I could see that shift.
It
Yeah.
was it was and you don't realize that's what's happening.
Yeah.
But that's what's happening. And you don't know why. It just feels like it's uncomfortable. Why is it that we don't collaborate or have the same community?
Yeah.
It's a different perspective.
Ooh, this is so intriguing because I feel like we have maybe only had in the last 5 years maybe a handful of Black women leading veterans, and so that's a unique experience that I think needs to be amplified. Of how you all have learned this leadership in these different settings,
Yeah.
as a veteran, and then bringing it to other places. I think there's something really rich because your Black woman lens with the veteran lens, it's a
Yes.
lot going on there.
And as a Black woman who's taught to lay down her life for her comrade in arms right next to you, you go in there to lay down your life in corporate America and it could be your last day on the job.
Dang.
You
Woo.
know, it's a very different analogy.
Whew. Okay, well, let's
Okay.
let's let's get into this because I could linger there all day, and we need to get to this manufactured fearlessness. So you have such a layered leadership story, as we were talking about. You had your 10 years in the Army, including combat deployment, 20 years, 20 plus years, as a corporate executive. That's a lot of rooms to walk in and out, a lot of different settings. You already talked about the mindset and the paradigm shifts that's happened there. Um, Talk a little bit more. I want to know, we talked about how the experience was different, but what were some of those things from your military experience that you were able to really apply as this executive leader in corporate America?
So for as much as I say honor, loyalty, and those things, they hit different in corporate
Yeah.
America. That's still my core.
Yeah.
Right? That is still who I operate, who I am at the core of how I show up.
Yeah.
I always want to be truthful. I always want to operate with integrity. I have no issue with taking accountability. And so some of those very, very core principles about leave no person behind, being able to push through,
Yeah.
that is in me and will be in me until the day that I leave
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I find that those core beliefs have allowed me to not only withstand any battle that I might have taken in my military leadership journey, it allowed me to withstand any battle that I took in my corporate leadership journey, right? Because you have to have that to fall back on, I think.
Yeah, yeah. And it sounds like from just that earlier conversation you were saying of the mindset shift, that those values, those things were core to you, but you had to learn the boundaries maybe that were a little different. Like,
Absolutely.
where do you go all the way to the wall? Where do you still have those values, but you're going halfway, not all the way to the
Absolutely.
wall? Talk a little bit about that, like these things that were core to you, but you found that you had to maneuver differently with those values or those codes in corporate America.
It's funny you say that because the word that comes to mind for me is intensity. I had and have such a level of intensity and rigor in the way that I address the work,
Got it.
right? And it really stems from my military. And it's funny because even as I'm talking about it right now, I'm realizing some things about myself. But I was in healthcare in my military
Okay.
experience as well. And so everything about that, I was trained to, get rapid health care to anybody that is on the field or is in danger or hurt, right? So it was really all about quick, rapid support. And I think that that's the same level of intensity that I address problems
I
in
see.
in the workplace, right? We've got a problem to fix. Let me jump right in. And so I think that that has carried me throughout and to the good or to the bad, right? Because some people might perceive it as, wow, this is a lot of intensity.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But also too, I feel like it fuels me. It energizes me. It gives me the battery in my back to do
Yeah.
whatever it is I need to do.
Yeah, so it's a double-edged sword.
It's a
You
double-edged
got to
sword.
learn to manage that thing.
And then I have to pull it back and I have to say, okay, hold on. This is
Okay.
not a mission. You are not, you're not in the
No
desert
one's
right
life
now.
is in
Nobody's
danger right
life is
now.
in danger
Right.
right now. But I can still be passionate about the work and the solution that I'm going to deliver without overwhelming the moment for
I love
everybody.
that. I love that. That's emotional intelligence in action.
Ma'am,
Yes.
yes.
Yes, I love it. Okay. So at some point you leave corporate and you are doing this work you're doing now on your own terms. What was that transition like? Because I think there's a lot of people in that space now. Some of them may be forced, layoffs, and they're doing other things. Others, they're making a conscious decision and trying something new. What was that transition then from 20 plus years as a corporate executive to now, this entrepreneur, this speaker, doing all this different kind of work? What was that like for you?
So another layer of manufacturing, another fearlessness
Yeah.
that, you just don't know what's on the other side of.
Yeah.
And so I like to say I retired myself from corporate America. And how that came about is I was working on a really important initiative and I kind of saw the writing on the wall where there wasn't a next thing for me. And I made a conscious decision about a year out to start mentally preparing for that transition, right? So that, hey, when this moment comes, you already have your mentality.
That's smart. Yeah.
Right? And your game plan. So even with that, though, there was still a lot of manufacturing fearlessness because the back and forth of, hey, well, are you sure? Is this really truly where you want to go? But once I made the decision, I was full steam ahead. And so the transition has been every single day a new learning.
Yes.
Where I saw this at the onset is not where I am. So that whole windy, twisty road of getting to today has been so true. But I'm so excited, Laura.
Wow.
Like I am even the more energized about the work that can be done and is being done here. So that intensity that I told you about is through the roof.
Applying it to this now.
Let me tell you something. Some days I get so excited about the ability to touch people and talk that I want to just run around the room. It's just like, I can't stop.
I'm on fire.
I am on fire.
I love it. I love it. Well, let's get into this big idea because you just referenced it. This new book, Manufactured Fearlessness, Own Your Leadership, Own the Room. Congratulations again, by the way. What does it mean? Because this is one of the things that piqued my interest, right? The title is provocative, right? Manufactured Fearlessness. What does that mean? And why this messaging? Like, why that wording around manufactured fearlessness?
So, I want to tell you where it started, if I may, and then get into the why. But it actually started very innocently for me when I was 20 years old, a single mom, and I was given 1 week's notice that I needed to deploy to the Gulf War. So that meant I needed to pack up my son, arrange child care for him so that I can go off and serve. Now, mind you, I knew what I was signing up for when I signed the agreement to join the Army. But hey, that never happens, right? Nobody ever deploys. And surely I'm not going to deploy with a newborn child. But I did.
Wow.
And so in that moment, what I didn't realize is that I was showing up. I was manufacturing fearlessness because I had no guarantee that I was coming home. We went through all of the training that everybody else goes through, which is to say, hey, if you don't make it back, make sure you write that last letter.
With that new fresh little baby.
With a fresh baby. I had to show up. I had to show up anyway. I wasn't ready. And so the things that I told myself as a 20-year-old girl were starting the foundation of saying, you've got to move even when you are not ready.
Wow.
And what it did in me was show me what I could do, right? So now I have a mirror of what it looks like to move anyway.
Yeah.
And then I just started to say, well, if you did that, you can do this.
Okay.
And then, well, if you did those other things, you could do this other thing. And so anytime I'm met with something where I'm afraid, I usually, of course, I have the fear just like anyone
Yeah,
else,
yeah.
right? The emotion, it usually takes me aback. And then I have to tell myself, but look at all of the other things you did
Wow.
afraid. And that is what I mean to say you manufacture that fearlessness and you take that first little step.
Cause you said, baby, them knees was
Baby,
knocking.
them knees not, and they still not to this day. And so now it's like, okay, Lord, is this what we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay, let me take
Yeah.
that deep breath and move forward. So
Okay.
manufacturing fearlessness is be afraid, but do it anyway.
Do it anyway. And there's a tension here, and I'd love to hear your take on this, because there's that saying, fake it till you make it, right? And so what I find and what we say in Black Women Leading is fake it till you make it, but by all means make it, right? And
Absolutely.
so there is a starting out the gate, I don't know, and I'm faking it. But then there's something that has to happen along the journey where you then begin to pick up the tools, the resources, the skills, so that you're not just always feeling, the quote unquote imposter
Yeah.
syndrome, but that at some point you're like, oh, I got this. So I started faking it till I make it, but I made it, right,
Right,
by
right.
picking up some things. What would you say about that tension, and as you think about your journey, the 20-year-old girl launching, along the way, did that young woman start to say, you know what, I can do this, from the experience? Like, what would you say about that tension that's there?
What I would say is that it never leaves you, right? And there's always a level of tension.
Yeah.
It just it just shows up in bigger things.
Yeah.
I may not be as tense anymore about being called to do something quickly or being asked to speak on the fly because I've
The
overcome
muscle
that
has built.
fear, that
Yes.
muscle. But there's another fear,
Yeah.
right? The fear of deciding to leave a corporate entity where I was clear on what that structure looked like,
Exactly.
to deciding to do it on my own. That came with a sense of fear.
Yeah.
I had to overcome and manufacture the fearlessness to say, yeah, but look back on all of the times when you said you can and you will. You did.
Yeah.
So I would just say that it's
It's a
always
starting
it's a
point.
starting point
And at each level,
at each
to
level.
not expect that won't be there,
To
right?
not, yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
I think that's a managing expectations thing too. Yeah.
And then when you look back on yourself, you're like, oh, and so I did do that.
And I did do that.
And I did that too. And every time that I tried to do it, I was able to do something.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality that I want people to
I
have.
love that.
It's not that the fear isn't there. It's looking back on every single time the fear was there, but you moved anyway.
You moved anyway, yeah. And what's coming up for me, a lot of times in leadership development and coaching, we talk about transferable skills.
Yes.
And we think about kind of the tactical skills. We're talking a lot about that now as people are having to pivot with layoffs and industry changes and technology. So we're talking a lot about, as coaches and in the leadership development world, about around transferable skills. But what I'm really picking up from you is not only our skills are transferable, but the motivation, the gumption, the fight, like that same whatever that was as a postpartum young 20-year-old woman, that those internal resources you pulled up weren't necessarily, maybe they were emotional skills, maybe they were mental skills, but it was something else that was transferable too, that
Absolutely.
I'm hearing, that I think is a part we don't talk about as much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What I did not realize about myself, but I'm very clear on myself now at this ripe age that I am, is that I always had it in me to succeed.
Yeah.
Like, even as a young girl, the things I was telling myself, I was manufacturing fearlessness even before I left home.
Yeah.
I love the community that I come from. I love my hometown. I love my people. But I always knew I wanted to get out and see the world.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I was going to show up to that belief, I just had to push.
Yeah.
I didn't know what push looked like, but every single time adversity was there, I was just like, well, this feels like a pushing moment.
Yeah.
So it was like really, truly leaning into it. But when I'm clear on where my journey started, it started with my dreams as a little girl.
So it's been there.
Yeah.
It's been there.
And you know what also happens too? I find myself now when I want to say, "Ooh, you've done enough." You like Caressa, you've done enough. You
Yeah.
could just kind of like
Sit
take a
down
chill
somewhere.
pill. Right. You know what my inner self says to me? But that's not who you said you wanted to be.
Wow. We still becoming. Yeah. On the journey.
That's not who you said you wanted to
Yeah.
be. You said you wanted to be somebody that was this or that.
Yeah.
So I also too believe it's what we tell ourselves
Yes.
when we're younger.
Yes. Yes.
And it's why I retired the fake it till you make it and manufacturing fearlessness, because faking it implies that it's not
you
in
don't
you.
have it. Yeah,
You
it's
got
a
it.
facade.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's powerful. I think that's a different reframe on it too, right? Of that, there's something, even if I don't have the tactical skills yet, there's some internal resources. I have my faith, my tenacity, my perseverance. There's something
Yes.
that I have that is enough
That
to
is
start
enough.
with. As I go along the journey, I'll get the
Yes.
rest of the stuff. And I hope that someone is listening and that is really inspirational, right, to you, because I feel like at different turns of life, we always have that moment. Like you said, it never ends. New level. What's the saying? New levels, new devils,
New
right?
levels, new devils, more money, more
we
problems.
feel like, and so I feel like people get discouraged because they're like, I should know this by now, or I shouldn't be feeling like this by now. But it is a human experience,
It is.
right? And so I think that's encouraging. It doesn't necessarily solve it, but it's encouraging to know that at my big age, whatever it is I'm trying to do now, if I'm feeling a little fear, that might be an indication of a new level or something that I'm
Correct.
about to experience.
Correct.
Oh, this is good.
And
Ooh,
it
this is
doesn't
good.
mean to not do it.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes. To not, exactly. It's not an indicator that you shouldn't do it. This is so good. So, okay, let's think about this. Let's start to apply this. So you talk about doing it afraid, and that the fearlessness isn't necessarily the absence of fear, but a practice is what we're talking
Yes.
about. What does that look like in real life for a Black woman navigating corporate spaces right now that maybe weren't necessarily designed with her in mind? What could this look like in practice?
So I think the first thing is realizing that we belong at the table.
Yeah.
Right? And there's nothing that we can't do that we don't apply ourselves or put our mind to.
Yeah.
I think sometimes that we see a ceiling for ourselves, or we have that imposter syndrome, or think that we may not have or may not be ready.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing where I say go for it. Put your name in the hat for all of it.
Yeah.
Every single thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because what I have seen on the other side of it, being in the boardroom, being with people who were, positioned as the high performers, a lot of us are much more readier than we think we are. We really are.
Okay. And compared to some other folks, our mediocre not ready is still leaps and bounds.
Still leaps and bounds.
Ahead of some other.
Ahead of others.
Yeah.
Because we're always operating and being cautious. We play it way too safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
We play it safe.
Yeah. I love it. And I think there's stuff that we can maybe borrow from other people. I always joke about my daughter. I talk about the spirit of audacity on this girl, because my daughter will be like, you know what? I'm gonna go try out for that thing that those people have been preparing for 5 years for. I'm gonna go do that and just see how it happens. And she literally in her head, it's like, I'm gonna work out a little bit, or I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna apply myself, but there is nothing in her that's like, girl, they've been doing that for 5 years. You just gonna pop up. It's nothing in her that limits that. And I think about that like as a mom, and I think about going back to your 20-year-old self, right? I always am very aware. I'm not trying to kill that spirit in her, because sometimes
Right.
I want to be like, girl, what are you doing? But then there's other times where the mom is low-key hating.
Yeah,
Like, girl,
you're
we'll
like,
see. And
let me
then she does
And
it.
she does it.
She does
Wow.
it, right? Because that spirit of audacity is there. Like that lens of, I believe she has fear about some things. Maybe it's youth, maybe it's a lack of experience, but there is something there that she has, I think that some other people have, that we need to borrow from sometime. Because it's like, what do I have to lose?
She's probably watching another black woman like yourself lead. She probably sees you jumping off of bridges that you
Yeah.
don't even realize you're
Yeah.
showing her.
Yeah.
And she has the audacity because she's seen women like you
Because
have the
I would be like,
audacity.
well, you go, girl, but
It may look different, right? And I think because I have my own 20-year-old who feels like she can like conquer the
conquer the
world.
world.
And I think it's beautiful, and I'm like, woo. So I get it,
Yeah.
right? But then I also too look at her, and I sometimes I'm like, she's trying to mimic what she thinks I'm doing.
Wow.
And her level of jumping off the bridge looks different than mine.
Yeah.
But she has the audacity to dream bigger because of the opportunities we gave.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a good thing. And that's what we do it for,
That's
right?
what we do it for.
Okay, so let's think about some. We always like to leave our listeners with some practical tips. What are some practical ways someone can begin to cultivate this inner fortitude that we're talking about and manufacture this fearlessness, even when there are some adversity around? What are some practices, some skills, some tools you recommend for that?
So I think the first thing that I'm passionate about now is helping people to understand that before you can effectively lead others, you really have to lead yourself first, right? And leading yourself first is knowing yourself, knowing your gifts, knowing what you are good at, and also too recognizing what fear looks like for you and how you need to talk to yourself when those moments occur.
So those what are those triggers that
What are
bring
those
up
triggers?
that internal monologue?
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do I start to feel?
Yep.
Right? How much do I know about myself? Can I push myself?
Yeah.
Right? And I think we all have that internal piece within us, but sometimes we don't take the time to recognize it.
Yeah.
So that self-awareness piece is super important.
Yeah.
And then once you can start to identify those things, there's language there that helps you to recognize how you should show up.
Okay.
I think the other thing for me, and I'm big about this in the workspace, is as Black women, we really need to go in with a strategy, how we're going to show up.
Yeah.
And I talk about this from the standpoint of like any basketball player. We're watching the finals right now in basketball. And everybody's got a strategy.
Yeah.
And they have a strategy when they walk in the door.
Yeah.
An offensive strategy before the ball is even tipped.
And playing to their strengths a lot of times.
Playing to their strengths.
Yeah.
And a lot of us wait until we are either see something that we want or something is happening to start being strategic.
Yeah.
I tell people, no, you need to be strategic the very first day you show up.
Okay.
Show up with that offensive strategy day one.
Okay.
So back to your question, knowing yourself, knowing your gifts, and always having a strategy that you're executing for yourself before things become problematic.
Yeah, and I'm hearing too, like knowing your triggers too, because you talked about it earlier that a lot of this ability to manufacturing fearlessness started in childhood, right? And so I think about there are some people that may be listening that had a very traumatic childhood, right? That some of those natural, God-given internal messages were stamped out or were there was something that happened that blocked that for you. And so I would also encourage people too that if you know that there are some things, right? I call it your little black box, that when it's tapped, you go out of character, right?
Yes.
Everybody got a little black box. Somebody's box might be bigger than another's, right? But also knowing those triggers for yourself, and getting whatever external support you need too that might help you work through, process, heal those things so you can reclaim the voice from that maybe was taken from you as a child or something like that.
Therapy is so critically important at a certain point in that journey, and it was for me.
Yeah.
Right? And it helped me also to better understand my gifts. Because a lot of times your gifts and your triggers are living in the same
flip side of the coin.
Cousins.
Flip side of the coin.
Right?
Yes.
And your triggers have they will come after your gifts.
Yes.
And so that was important for me to understand.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
I was talking to someone the other day and she was talking about strengths and skills.
and these things that were the bright lights about her were threatening to other people. And so
Absolutely.
coming up, these things that were very natural, that now, after going through a journey, a healing process, she's really accessing and serving the world with those gifts. They were the things that people wanted to make her small in because they were intimidated, or because you a mirror for me. If you shining that bright, then I see myself. And she used to hate some of the things that are her strengths, her skills, the things she should play to, because of what because of what other people said about them or how they treated her because of that. And so I think part of that journey is too separating out what other people think about your strengths from the real experience of that, which for some people we can do that with some reflection, whatever your spiritual practice is. For other people, depending on that journey, you might need some additional help to help you uncover that.
Guilty as charged. I will tell you, guilty as charged. As you were talking, I was seeing myself. I have been told I like to talk ever since I could remember. You talk, you like to talk,
You
you
talk
always
too
giving
much,
advice, you
yeah.
talk too much, you're bossy, you're this, you're that. And so much so to the point where I was just like, Lord, I'm going to walk in here and please let me not have anything to say. I'm going to
Wow.
show them
You
I
like
can be
quiet my
quiet.
voice, my
I
gift.
can't do it. I
Wow.
can't. I can't. Like, and then I had to realize I wasn't meant to be quiet. I wasn't built to be quiet. And then that's when I go back to knowing your gifts.
Yes.
Now I need to use my gifts in a way that are going to serve me, because I'm supposed to talk. That's what I know.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to talk. And then when I go back to, I went through those leadership journeys for a reason,
Yes.
so that I can help somebody else.
Yeah.
That struggle, that pain for me is purpose for helping someone else. And so I just was like, I guess this is where we're going.
And now you get paid to talk. Okay.
Now I get paid to talk about it.
I heard that. I heard that. Okay, a few terms I picked up from you that I want to touch on before we go to our seasons theme questions.
Okay.
When we talked before on our call, you talked about this concept of beyond the veil. And I love this concept. And you spoke about it with regard to looking past the surface of some things that may be happening in corporate culture and seeing what's really happening so you can inform that strategy. Tell us a little bit about that concept of beyond the veil.
Yeah, I think this is where we get stuck so much.
Yeah.
And what I mean when I say beyond the veil, I mean going beyond the curtain to see what's really happening, right? Because as you know, as a Black woman who's been in executive spaces, there's a conversation that a lot of people are not privy to.
Yes.
And that conversation shapes a lot. And so much of time is being spent on things that have nothing to do with the conversation that's going on
Yeah,
behind the
it's a
scenes.
behind the scenes kind of thing happening.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you don't understand and tap into the bigger message, going beyond the veil of what's being said and really truly looking at, wait, why are they shifting?
Yeah.
Why is this person speaking louder than this person? What's truly happening here? I know this person has the title, but this person seemed to be making the decisions.
Yeah.
Those are things that's information. That is information that is telling you things that you should be paying attention to. And if you don't know how to interpret it, if you can't go beyond the veil of what's being said, this is how we get left behind.
Yeah, so this is the really observing the environment, reading between the lines.
Yes.
But I think this is also a case too, and we've talked about this in Black Women Leading a lot. There's an old myth that I think a lot of people, especially in that mid and senior level, 15, 20 years of experience, that they were told earlier on in their career, if you just put your head down, do your work, they'll notice, right? But if your head down, we know that don't work, right? But if your head is down and you just doing your work and you're not building relationships or inserting yourself into influence networks, not only are you not visible for opportunity, but you don't get to observe the environment to pick up these unspoken things too.
I teach this on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Hard work alone is not going to get
not
you
gonna
promoted.
cut it.
And we were told that. It started from early childhood. If you just work hard, your time will come. But what I talk to people about is that promotion is really about being seen, positioned, and then compensated.
Yes.
You are seen first.
Yeah.
And if you aren't doing the right things in that period where you're being seen, you may never get positioned. And guess what? Compensation won't come.
Won't come. Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
going into first day offensive strategy, because I know I'm going to be seen, I need to start showing up because in a year or two, I'm going to want the promotion. And so many of us aren't even
It's a
thinking
longer
along those.
game, and that's a
It's a,
strategic thing.
there you go.
Not just what's right now. Where am I
And that's
going?
going beyond the veil.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I love it. Okay, last question I'll
Yes.
ask, and we'll transition to our season's themes question. Your overarching message I took from really looking into this manufactured fearlessness, right, is you belong, and you said it at the beginning that you belong at these tables. That's simple, but it's also profound, right? Where does that message come from you personally, and why do you think so many Black women still struggle to believe it, that you belong, you are enough?
I think so many of them struggle to believe it because there's not enough representation.
Okay.
First and foremost, right? And the reason why I know it to be true is because I've been in that boardroom and I've seen what's happening in there. And I've also seen how Black women show up.
Yeah.
And there is, we believe we don't belong in that seat. But what I've seen from sitting in that seat is so many more of us belong there than
Yeah.
we know.
Because they ain't talking about nothing
They
in there
ain't
that you
talking
can't be
about
talking about.
everything they know is what we know. Okay. Except for we know how to put a little hot sauce.
A little hot sauce on it. Right.
So and it took me getting there
Yeah.
to see
No, this what y'all doing up in here?
this is y'all been trying to hold us back from. So like come on, and come on here, y'all. We good.
We good.
Like,
Come on in
so
here.
you belong.
Yeah, and it's I think it's to be fair, right, and holistic,
Yeah.
that there is some systemic things going on, of course, that
Absolutely.
that send messages that tell you don't belong, that we internalize.
Yes.
And then it sounds like you had some really strong footing in your community and your family and things of the sort that helped you to kind of push back on some of those things.
I had
But
the audacity.
Yeah, the audacity.
I had the audacity.
Yeah.
I manufactured the fearlessness. And the only thing I can tell you is just, I was like, I'm going for it. Like, that's the only thing I
going
can tell
for
you.
it.
I'm going for it.
I
They're
love it.
going to have to tell me no.
I love it. I love it. I love it. On this topic of manufactured fearlessness, before we transition, anything else you want to share with our viewers, listeners?
You know, I think so. Look, if I can just share about the book is really coming from the perspective of showing you the scenarios in which you may see yourself operating where you're playing it small, and then giving you why playing it small in this space is not the best leadership
I see.
attribute, and then giving you the fearless way to think about it.
Okay.
And so what I think about with regards to that is that, again, that's going beyond the veil and seeing it from a different lens. And that's how that's probably the biggest thing that I can say. Being able to look at the scenario from a different value proposition
Yeah.
is probably the best advice I can give.
And it sounds like it's helping with some of the mindset
Absolute-
shifts that need to happen to
Right.
kind of walk into this in this way.
Yes, because once I started seeing the tea leaves the way that I saw them, I couldn't see the conversation any differently. I'm walking into the room and saying, "Oh, what's this person's strategy? Oh, this is their position. They're bringing this up because they're the disruptor." Like, I
Okay.
can see the playing field now.
Yes.
And if you don't think about it like that, you're already losing, in my opinion, the game.
So, baby, y'all need to get the book, okay, for the strategy. You need to get the book, and we'll
Yes.
have all the details in the show notes.
Yes.
So, a few questions just on our season 9 theme, which is
yes.
nurturing and cultivating our relationships. And we've been talking about this quite a bit. And we're thinking holistically, our relationship with ourselves, personally, and also professionally. What has cultivating a relationship with yourself looked like across the different seasons of your life and leadership journey?
I take it back to something I said a few minutes ago, which is I am a person that's just like, you're gonna go for it. You're gonna go for it. I don't care what it is. When I put my mind to it, I just believe I can do whatever it is that I
Yeah.
put my mind to. And so anytime I am at a place where I'm kind of challenging, okay, so what's next? Right? Like I'm a what's
Yeah,
next
yeah,
girl
yeah.
too. Like, okay, you've done that. What are you gonna do next? So I think for me, it's just constantly going back to that core belief that constantly moving, constantly wanting to improve yourself, constantly wanting to reach for the stars, and it usually gets me into a lot of trouble.
Good trouble.
Good
Good trouble.
trouble.
Good trouble. I love it. How does fearlessness connect to? Well, let me rephrase that. As you think about this fearlessness concept that we've been talking about, who or what has been instrumental in helping you to cultivate this? Like you said, this I've just always gone for it. Who or what has helped you to cultivate that?
I would say in the early days, it was my family's belief in me.
Yeah.
Like they really did coming up believe in me, and especially when I went into the military, they were cheering me on. Like
Yeah.
it was like I could feel their cheering and support. And then I would say, as I started having children, my kids, because what I look at, and I tell myself this all the time, you can't expect them to be great if you're going to be mediocre. Like they're
Wow.
watching, your kids
Yeah.
are watching.
They're watching.
So yeah, a lot of times it happens in the gym when I'm trying to say, "Oh, I don't need to do all of these," and I'm like, "Your kids are watching." So, but that's my motto.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, last question. What is the one thing you want every Black woman listening to walk away and carry with her from this conversation?
What I want us to walk away with and carry from this conversation is that although a lot of us might have been pulled in to lead others at a young age because we were tapped on the shoulder or we were obligated to be a leader, it really starts with leading yourself first,
Yeah.
knowing your gifts, being clear on who you are, because that's when you're going to know you belong. You lead yourself first, you lead others, you have the ability to leave a long-standing legacy. So
Yeah.
lead yourself, lead others, leave a legacy.
I love it. I love it. This has been really good. I have really enjoyed this dialogue.
Likewise.
Where can people connect with you outside of this, and anything special you have going on you want people to know about?
Yes, so the book Manufacturing Fearlessness is out right now, so definitely want you to check that out. You can pick that up on my website. I am caressabell.com. That is I am CaressaBell.com. You can also find me on social media at Clarity with Caressa
Okay.
or on LinkedIn, Caressa Bell.
Okay, and we'll put all those links in the show
Yes,
notes.
thank you.
Awesome.
And then I have a free gift
Sure,
that I want to
sure,
leave
yes,
your
tell
audience
us.
with, that if I may.
Absolutely.
I will also share that with you too.
Yay, free gifts. We like free gifts. This has been so good. We hope you all have taken something from this conversation as well. If this has been meaningful, if it has resonated with you, we encourage you to share this episode with someone in your network, someone in your family, one of your friends. We're on all streaming podcast platforms. You can also listen on our website, blackwomanleading.com, and also on the Black Woman Leading YouTube channel. If you'd like to connect with us, we are at Black Woman Leading, and woman is singular, on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. If you'd like to connect with me personally, I'm at Laura E. Knights, and you can find me most active on LinkedIn and on Instagram. And then finally, if you want to learn about the work we do inside of organizations to support building stronger leaders and stronger teams, check out our corporate site at knightsconsultinggroup.com. We would love to connect with you in any of these ways. And until next time, be well.